Hi and welcome to It's Only Food. Today we will be making beef tips with rice. So as soon as we get situated here, we're going to get on the prep. Stay with us. Alright, there's the star of the show right there, the beef flat that I bought. I cut this into 3 different sections and froze them for some meals that we had. Onion, little flour, butter, diced tomatoes, Chef Politte seasoning, my garlic press with my garlic, olive oil, Worcestershire sauce, some quick cook rice, and of course the bay leaf. Here are the tools we'll use: of knife, our spoon to stir, our garlic press, our cutting board, and our pot. So of course we're going to first start with our onion. We had a tutorial on this a little earlier that I put on the YouTube site. Dice them up real nice, throw them off to the side in a bowl. Then we're going to take the meat. I got a nice beef flat here that we had from our roast that I cut up. So you just want to cut it all into strips like this. Notice there's not a whole lot of fat. That's why we're going to introduce butter and oil into this dish later. But you just stack them up, and then you can, well, get a little fat. That's a silver skin. That's a connective tissue. We'll just get rid of that. And just cut them into little cubes that you're going to have. Nice little cubes. Then when you're all done, throw them in a bowl, get ready to cook. We've got our butter. Like I said, we're going to introduce some fat into this dish because the meat doesn't have a whole lot. Just set that right in there. I'm going to throw a little olive oil in there too, give it a little of a peppery taste. Just add that into that. Let that simmer down, get it melted up, and then we'll add the beef to it. There we go. Got the nice cubed beef in there. Let that cook. Get, of course, our onions. Add that in there. Let those flavors marry a little bit. We throw a bay leaf in there and some special seasoning. And, of course, garlic. I'm going to crush that up. And throw that right in there with my handy-dandy garlic crusher. Boop, right on in. And we'll stir that up. Let the flavors introduce each other to each other. And then we'll let them cook and become what we like to call beef tips. Get it back out of there and get a nice shot. Then we're going to let that cook, simmer down, get all it browned up real nice before we start thickening it up and adding our liquid to it. There we go. And most of the onions are getting translucent. The beef is cooking. You can see that it's starting to kind of break up and the flavors are marrying nice. We'll keep stirring that up. Let that cook a little longer until it gets to where we can actually start thickening up. There it is, all cooked, ready to go. You see the beef and the onions are all cooked and they're hot. So what I'm going to do now is, of course, add our flour, all-purpose flour. Add a little bit at a time to the fat that we've introduced into that pan, and we just stir that up. We're making a roux, which is going to thicken it up before we add liquid. And just add a little bit more. Stir that in there, and you want to cook that roux a little bit. You don't want to just throw it in there because it'll have a funky taste to it. You want to cook it in with the food, the garlic and the onions and the seasoning that we've thrown in there, plus the beef and the onion. Just let that cook, and we will let that go a little bit longer, and then I can add the liquid to it. First of all, I got is the Worcestershire sauce, or Worcestershire sauce. We'll just add that in there. That gives it some fantastic flavor also. Just stir that up. Then we're going to add our tomatoes to it. Tomatoes will help break the meat down, the fibers of the meat, so it becomes tender. We're just going to add the juice and everything. You can use any kind of tomato you want. You can put fresh in there. You just stir that up. Get all those flavors to marry in. Of course, let that cook down. While that cooks down, and of course, you're going to add a little bit more liquid to it. So I think we'll add a little bit of water to this. Oh, nope. I got a fresh spoon that was clean out of the drawer. We didn't have it in there with the raw product from before. Safety, safety. New spoon. There we go. Good job, John. Add a little bit of water to this now. I'm going to pour that right in there. See, if Daniel was here, he would have reminded me too there. Stir that right on in there and let this thicken down. and we are almost done. We're going to let that cook for about a half hour to 45 minutes and let those tomatoes and that acidity in the tomatoes do its job by thinning out and tenderizing the meat, I should say. There we go. It is all cooked and ready to go. It's bubbling. The roux has done its job. It has thickened the meal. So now we stir this up a little bit and get ready to plate it up. Yeah, that's bubbling real good. Nice and hot. The meat's probably real tender. The flavors are just fantastic in there. So what we're going to do now is we will just plate it up and go for the money shot. All right, I put up this on some rice that I had. Not noodles this time. We used rice. So there's some different shots of what it looks like. I promised my staff over at Edgewood Senior Living, I'm going to give them a shout out to everybody that works for me out there. Not everybody in the building, but everybody in the kitchen. You guys do a great job, and I appreciate it. So here we go. Diane, Nicole, Jody, Along, Natalie, Euphemia, Sage, Kelsey, Vicky, Cassie, Tyreek, Devontae, and Chloe. There we go. Need a little help. Appreciate your help. You guys do a great job. There's your shout out. Send it to everybody you know. Thanks for watching It's Only Food. Alright, well, we made beef tips with rice. You can put this on noodles. You can add sour cream to it to make stroganoff. You can actually add mushrooms to it too when you're cooking. I just did it my way without the mushrooms because my wife and I are going to enjoy this later and she doesn't like mushrooms. So again, we did beef tips and rice. You can make this with noodles and rice, and the great thing about this is when you have leftovers, you can just put the rice and the beef together in the same container, Tupperware, and then properly cool it down and throw it in the refrigerator in the same container. It'll keep the rice moist and the noodles moist when you have it in there. So again, we had a great time doing this. Let's set this down over here so I can talk with my hands more. Okay. No, had a great time on It's Only Food. Make sure you watch us right here on this site. We are in the process of building an internet website right now so we can have more of these shows available to you, try to get the recipes up for you, and have some discussions and more pictures too. More pictures of what I do for a living too, not just what we do on this show. So I appreciate you watching. I'd like to thank my lovely wife back there behind the camera for instructing me and guiding me through this tedious process. Without her help, I probably couldn't do this. So, and also I want to say thanks to you people out there watching over in TV or YouTube land. I appreciate that, because I couldn't do this without you. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great day. Bye-bye.